Ladies and gentlemen, we're floating in
space. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. Welcome aboard the Pleasure Cruise. Been out cold for a minute. I hope nothing happened while I was away.
Oh man, where to put everything?
Anyway, you know what? I feel like, freshen up. Let's go watch some V Shoujo. They should be still going. Excuse me, how much? Yeah, we're back at it again. A lovely listicle. The best 25 VTuber songs for 2025. How's that for a little serendipity?
That's not what serendipity means. Also, I am here.
Yeah, obviously. Someone has to read the title so no one makes fun of my Japanese.
I will also be providing mild spoilers before each entry on this list, so nobody gets too big of a surprise.
Oh, what? Surprises are part of the fun. Don't you even watch top 10 lists?
Not everybody likes surprises. You're being selfish again.
Alright, let's make it quick. Let's play the thing. It was this button.
The first honorable mention only includes around 30% VTuber singing at most.
Does this song even count? Probably not, which is why it's only an honorable mention. People seem to have very strong opinions about Baby No Money this year, and it's weird because he's the kind of guy I'd say is very easy to overthink. His songs are pretty similar flavours of hype pop rap bangers about keeping his wallet full and his genitals occupied, and that's been the case for most of his career. I don't know the guy, but he seems like he just wants to be popular and hang out with famous internet people wearing goofy outfits and rapping about milks. It's not aiming very high, but that's allowed. Although I guess seemed is the operative word. At time of recording, he has announced he's done with music, even if it could well come back, who knows. It's fair to be annoyed at all of the trend hopping and the very calculated marketing behind all of his stuff, but I don't feel the need to look a gift horse in the mouth. 1-800 is fun. Iron Mouse sounds great on the hook, it's quick and simple and disposable, and I'm okay with that. It's all good. Let the boy make his songs.
Second honorable mention is simultaneously way too late and right on time.
Okay, so initially I was supposed to do a bit here about how much of a massive moron I am. I only listened to this song at the start of 2025, so I couldn't include it for last year's list, which will remain my deep abiding shame because I fucking adore Oracle. Easily one of my most replayed tracks of the year and possibly a Hololive all-timer. It is phenomenal. Could run my mouth at length about how great this thing is. But then we got the announcement of Kanata's graduation from the company and increasingly louder rumbles of strangling company expectations, and suddenly a song about the boundless love of God and its ability to be controlling, stifling and abusive starts to gain an additional layer. I don't want to dedicate too much time to speculating or grumbling here, obviously, but suffice to say this was one hell of a fantastically twisted pop song, and I wish Kanata nothing but health and happiness from here on out. Absolute essential listen right here.
Third honorable mention is one for the holiday season.
Another late entry from last year, but in fairness to me, this was the sort of in-joke that takes a pretty hefty explanation to sound even mildly less insane. And don't get me started on whatever the hell was happening in 2025. So, context. There's this talking peanut guy and he has a pretend crush on Kenmochi Toya from Nijisanji JP, and one time he hung out at Toya's place for Christmas and played a stupid novelty troll song about the two of them sleeping in the same bed or whatever. Kenmochi hated it, the fans loved it, so now every year at Christmas time, Peanuts-kun arrives in his sleigh to give all the good little boys and girls a lovely shitpost song about wanting to lick Toya's armpits or whatever. Yeah, my house won't have Christmas without it. Like bloody missing the King's speech. Even with that brainworms history, however, 2024's Christmas Carol still feels like jumping the shark while riding a different shark. It's not too sporting to spoil the joke, so I'll let you check this one out on your own time if you want to. There's also a video called All You Need to Know About Topi Christmas Theme Song 2018 to 2023 by the clip channel Ganako if you want to get up to speed and partake in this proud VTuber tradition. It seems that you and I are destined to do this forever. Now let's all say grace.
Fourth honorable mention is arguably inappropriate to include at all.
Speaking of hard to introduce. So at this stage in the artistic development of VTubing, we are still pretty audience-centric. Most of the stuff put out in this niche is intended for fans to be into it as a high priority. Much rarer is the stuff that feels like it was primarily made for the sake of the person making it and no one else. I Lost Myself by Riki Poppet feels to me like one of those very rare exceptions to that. I have a little more context for the track now, but my first listen to this song really stopped me in my tracks. It was a weird experience. The song is so bare bones and DIY and raw. It feels more like reading someone's diary than a song, just uncomfortably intimate to the point where you might feel like you weren't supposed to hear it at all. The instrumental is from a sad indie folk type beat she licensed from YouTube, one that even ends up clipping the mix in several places. For a genre that's so interested in pomp and flash and ceremony and kayfabe, something this stripped down, unvarnished and exposed is legitimately kind of transgressive. I don't know if I fully liked this song, but I certainly won't be forgetting it, and I suppose in the spirit of art disturbing the comfortable, that has to be worth something.
Fifth honorable mention is the one song everyone wanted on the main list.
One of the biggest events in VTubing, even if for a lot of folks it wasn't altogether surprising. Gargura finally hung up the shark onesie, though not before giving us a final goodbye track. And this was not the parting message a lot of people were expecting, no so long and thanks for all the fish. This was a very pointed statement of a song. After so much talk of Gura as the queen of VTubing, biggest to ever do it, and all of the fawning over her view counts and super chat earnings, Ash again just strips away all the pretense. It's the other side of the story about feeling trapped in the hall of mirrors that is celebrity, the gut-churning pressure of eyes and expectations, the suffocating imposter syndrome, and the cruel irony that she never asked for any of it. This was all out of her hands. She just got pulled along by much larger currents, so Gura does the only thing that is in her power. She gathers her courage and just puts an end to it. Lyrically, this thing is brutal, but it's not quite flawless for me. Some of the biggest criticisms have been pointed at Casey Edwards' production job, and I do have to agree that this swings too close to trailer music for my taste. It's epic and sweeping, but without any of the detail to pay off all the bombast. The lack of distinctive instrumental flourishes makes the swell sound loud for the sake of loud rather than, building to anything more musically satisfying. That pulls it out of the top tier for me, but those lyrics are fully worth recognising. There was only ever going to be one quote-unquote Gura killer, and if she's the one openly asking the audience what that crown at the top was even worth, I think some people would do well to ask themselves why exactly they're so quick to look for a successor, or why we even need the crown at all.
Number 20 is a thinly veiled excuse to mention Higurashi.
So I stumbled onto this cover by complete random chance. An up-and-coming V singer with less than 1,000 subs dropping a cover of a track from the Higurashi anime that I haven't even seen yet because I'm saving myself until after I finish the original visual novel. I'm one of those people. The song is really pretty and the singing is absolutely wonderful and come on, rule of threes. It's one more thing. Nice ribbon. Great ribbon. Yeah. Did I mention the singing?
Number 19 hits me right in the P word.
Probably 2025's most popular candidate for an easy cover. I'm not complaining, the original track dropped in that magical part of 2024 when Deco Nina was putting out stuff I was actually into. I love the eclectic instrumental, the weird throbbing bass line that revs into full-blown stalking menace in the second verse, the sing-along chorus, and best believe, I love the absolutely feral lyrics. That shit rules. It's like anime girl WAP. Reichi is going to get my vote for best cover. Fantastic translation, vocals, and video. Just the whole package. Gourmet filth.
Number 18 is about two ladies who are very close cousins.
You know what, Narissa? You win. The duet between the Songbird and the Big Sword Lady was possibly one of the most requested HoloLive crossovers ever since the two arrived in the company. Since they, seem to be such good, pen pals. As soon as I saw this slide into my recommendations, I knew it was going to be perfect. It was the exact right pick. There could be no choice for a duet between Narissa Ravencroft and Elizabeth Rose Bloodflame more perfect on a sonic, vocal, and metatextual level than Rondo Revolution from the iconic shoujo anime trailblazer, Revolutionary Girl Utena. I haven't even seen Utena yet personally. I watched the first episode and felt like a bridge troll attending the Royal Ballet. Of course, I'm sure those who have could write breathlessly on the significance of Narissa being cast as the brash and tomboyish Prince Utena Tenjo and Elizabeth playing the role of the soft, bewitching Princess Anthy Himamiya. Are they the important ones? I've not seen it, I couldn't tell you. But I can say that if there exists a heterosexual explanation for this song, it must sound like the delusional ravings of a frothing conspiracy theorist. This song is so powerful, it scares me. I gaze upon Rondo Revolution and experience the romantic sublime.
Number 17 is the meme song that some people took seriously enough to write a whole YouTube video.
I had to listen to this song roughly a squintillion times in editing, and somehow I'm not completely sick of it. This is built different.
Number 16 is what my kids will think Dream Theater sounds like.
VTubers are making progressive rock now. Oh, we're all fancy. Did you hear that chord? That was an A-flat demolished. You probably haven't heard of it. I only like the first album. I've never been a massive progressive rock guy. The genre has always been a little too high on time signature changes and a little too low on interesting, my taste. Or at least that's what I thought. I did listen to more prog I liked in 2025 and can now admit that Opeth and Moron Police are pretty damn great at the very least. Though you don't have to be scared of a chorus prog rock bands, I promise they don't bite. Strings Theology is progressive rock at its most sickeningly theatre kid and flouncy. It is pure rock opera cheese and, oh, the show must go on, maestro. Deeply silly, but I'll be damned if I wasn't kind of feeling it by the end. I'll always appreciate the ambition of someone aiming big, and even if it can't quite swing with the greats, I think it's pretty tidy. Bravo, sir!
Number 15 is the subtweet that walks like a song.
Oh man, this is going to be a long one. As soon as I heard this song, I realised two things instantaneously. The first was that this was the best original song to come out of Niji EN in the past 2 years. The second was that trying to explain what I enjoy about this song without piling on the context and qualifications and disavowal to avoid misunderstanding was so difficult it might be easier to just not mention it. But here we are, I guess. Zeal Genjoka made a debut song reaffirming his right to make his own judgments regarding joining a controversial agency, and even if it's not perfect, I do respect it for the most part. Niji-sanji Ian's past two waves by The Beat and Denouth have both had to metatextually deal with the implications of the company's current reputation in the West being what it is, and as much as I like the tongue-in-cheek self-awareness of Denouth being residents of an old decrepit mansion subject to rumours that it is haunted, not everyone needs to take the self-parody approach. Zeal's primary issue is with a lot of the disingenuous concern trolling around his and other talent's safety by the kind of patronising wanker pretending that they're looking out for him.
Oh, you Niji-sanji, dude? Oh, really? Like, you know they're like a bad company, right? I'm just giving you good advice, man. You don't want to go there. Like, you got to think about your long-term career, you know? You just got to get out of there, man. You got to get out.
Like, obviously there are plenty of valid criticisms to leverage at Niji-sanji, but it's still up to any individual person to consider the evidence on the table and decide whether that's something they want to personally associate with. Zeal has made the choice he wanted, and I think it's more than fair that he defend that choice from judgmental dipsticks who have decided that they understand his life priorities better than he does. You don't have to love Niji to acknowledge that even if you have opinions about certain people going independent and getting out of the corporate system, it's not your decision to make. Of course, I still have my differences with Zeal. I don't agree with every line in this song, even if I appreciate that tackling a topic this complicated in a 3-minute pop track means you have to cut corners. Speaking of which, the actual song, I should probably talk about that. It's pretty good. It's got this very ramshackle aesthetic that sounds like the MIDI pop straight out of the indie Vocaloid scene. It doesn't fully sound ready for the big time as such, but that scrappiness gives Zeal's production a very distinct personality. He's described Medusa's Masquerade as being his Disney villain song, and I really like the way that he leans into this very melodramatic heel turn. It's fun and bouncy, but has just the right amount of that clapback catharsis to make moments like the ending feel like a really satisfying middle finger to very irritating people. I'll keep my eye on Mr. Genjoka. He's hoping there are more tricks up his sleeve.
Number 14 is A Wave Across the Bay.
Miss Suzuka kept busy this year, as she always does. Some of it was what we could politely refer to as the usual, which is to say bizarre mashups of glitch music, chamber pop and hip-hop set to weird CGI music videos with creepy dolls and graphic body horror that seems like it should break TOS but somehow doesn't. Look, everyone has to have their thing. I'll be honest, some of the stuff was vibrating a little too high even for me. But that wasn't the only string to Suzuka's bow. On top of these sweet little guitar covers she released, singing from inside the guitar, no VFX by the way, she can just do that, we got a straightforward indie-tronica ballad written entirely in English. Genuinely haunting little song. The stumbling drum beat that sounds like it's on the verge of completely collapsing from exhaustion, setting the backdrop for this cycle of ghostly wheezing organ chords. Suzuka's tale painting a person accepting themselves fading away from this world and leaving for the next with a plain-spoken inevitability. It's dark. Darker than a lot of VTubers would be willing to go, but it's equally a reminder of Suzuka's skills as a composer. The gradual build on the back half of the track with the ascending synth arpeggios and shimmering guitar gives the track this entrancing seductive quality as if it's gently guiding you to the other side with a lullaby. This is really not for everyone. I want to stress that this is not a song that you should indulge lightly. Even outside of the explicit subject matter, the headspace this attempts to put you in for a lot of folks is going to be extremely uncomfortable by design. But I do have to acknowledge artistic resonance, and this song really did hit me in the guts a few times this year. Take that as you will.
Number 13 is the best Giga track that Giga didn't actually write of the year.
Holy Toledo, we got a serious bout for you here, ladies and gents. Red girl versus blue girl. We got Hakos Bales in the red gloves and Oro Crony in the blue gloves and the cat ears. Who is going to take it? Who is going to be the champion? Who has got the guts to make some magic happen here tonight? There is only one way we are going to settle this score.
Have a kiss.
Number 12 is the latest cut from the Ryan Reynolds of VTubing.
Seems like one of the trends of the year was the return of liquid drum and bass. Kaf was doing it, Mori was doing it, Kizuna Ai was doing it, and of course, Suisei gave it a shot on Deadpool here. It's a very late 90s, early 2000s vibe, very Y2K, lets you make melodic pop music, but also feel kind of alternative, cutting edge, a little bit highbrow. I think of everyone listed, Suisei is the one that it really suits the best. Her presentation style is already pretty synonymous with effortless cool and sophistication, and I honestly feel that in some ways stripping the instruments away does her as many favours as Inotaku stuffing them back in again on the MGO songs does. The minimalism really made it pop out to me compared to the rest of her new record. I love how much Suisei and Kaf kept the vocals fairly quiet and intimate while still sounding gorgeous, especially blended on that final chorus. Just a beautiful study of the pop fundamentals. Still not 100% sure on why it's called Deadpool though. Suisei has a habit of dropping random pop culture references in her song, so I'm just not going to question it.
Number 11 is what happens when a gremlin locks in.
Yeah, this made a pretty serious impact. I think a lot of folks were aware that Gigi had it in her to make something like this. I'd argue there had been darker edges to her character work as far back as the debut. But it's one thing to see that potential, and another to see the resident jokester actually pull off a very earnest tribute to her late father and detail her own process with grieving and healing from that loss. Initially, the production for this one left me a little in the cold, what with the very obvious Porter Robinson worship, and I think even now, Patton's left this one a touch too unseasoned for my taste. What ended up pulling me back, of course, were the very plain-spoken lyrics. One of the details that really stuck with me was the line about trying to find her strength before the clouds were clear from the sky. What's often underappreciated about the grieving process is that in a social setting, there can kind of be a time limit on how long people might deem it acceptable for you to still be dealing with the after effects. How long you get before it's decided that you should have quote-unquote moved on by now, even if the reality is, it's very rarely that simple. Folks deal with this kind of emotional pain differently, and it's never as linear and straightforward as we might like. There are good days and bad days. Some parts might be easy, some parts might feel almost impossible. Some folks heal quick, some never heal at all. And Gigi understands all that. It's why she wants to take solace in the knowledge that her dad would be proud of her. Of course he would. That he would want her to shoot for the moon and show the world all the wild and amazing ideas she has. It's why the last chorus changes from questioning to more definitive, finally gathering the courage to keep moving forward. The clouds will never fully disappear, but it's okay to just watch them pass. After everything, better and worse, you'll still be here.
Number 10 is better than the auto version.
Dude, this is just a freebie. One of the best vocalists in all of VTubing, tackling one of the best J-rock songs ever laid to wax. And don't you forget it. It's great, obviously. It's not quite Sheena Ringo, but buddy, we only have one Sheena Ringo. Usan remains one of the few VTubers who can genuinely sell themselves as any kind of legit rock star, and they just completely rule the stage on this one. You know, it might have even landed a few spots higher if someone didn't decide to pull out the stupid meme TikTok car filter for the music video. I know it was rage bait, it worked. How dare you? I was legitimately kind of pissed off. You were out of pocket on that one. Oh, hope you have a comfortable hiatus and all that, but I won't forgive you for this. You put a silly video over a goated song. I'm having a sulk until you apologise.
Number 9 is the DNA of the soul.
Dempa is a bit of a polarising genre over here in Western VTubing. To be honest, you could probably consider it a progenitor to the sort of thing we call brain rot content these days. It is pure ADHD word association sugar rush. It is TikTok music from before the concept even existed. And I think on that basis, it makes a stupid amount of sense to make a Dempa song entirely about old internet meme culture. You heard correctly, meme culture is now old enough to be entering into the 20-year nostalgia cycle. This is Sparta is old enough to drive and pay taxes. Poker's track here is definitely going for the fun nostalgia trip, which I can be iffy on if it just feels like we're listing old things. Remember that? I do! Where I think this song goes really right is creating the sense that it's not just the memes that we look back on fondly. Memes are just their own little silly part of culture and communication. They're in-jokes that you get to share with your friends and strangers alike. And prior to the modern saturation point where memes are ubiquitous enough to just be the lingua franca of the entire internet, they could feel pretty distinct, fun, and special on their own. I do think that's worth celebrating with the rose tints, especially in a song as stacked with hooks and vocal acrobatics as this one is. Just a blast of fun. Make sure you head over to Poker's channel and give her 5 stars on the video, you hear?
Number 8 is Fortet's rounds for VTubers.
See that little production credit up there? This one was self-produced, baby, in collaboration with Athoro, who did Narissa's background music. That's actually a bit of a rarity in Hololive, even if we see more regular examples elsewhere. Usually the trade-off for being self-produced is that you get something a little less polished but a lot more unique and personal, and that does hold true for Wind Up. Next to the ornate chamber pop instrumental draped with silky pianos and strings, Cecilia's slightly clumsy, overwritten lyrics and vocals that are mostly just adequate seem like they showed up to the wrong song, until you realise that actually works in the track's favour. Wind Up is about overcoming perfectionism. It's about dealing with the peaks and valleys of creative inspiration. On the surface, it's a nobody's perfect anthem that most of us have already heard before, but given a lot more personal detail and sincerity beyond the platitudes. The gap between the intricate instrumental and the flaws in the lyrics serve to reinforce the song's core point. If that sounds like hipster cope, consider the alternative. Would you believe a song about how everyone has their flaws when the tune itself was 100% flawless? Would kinda undermine the point, wouldn't it? That said, I don't want to undersell how good the production is. Warm and organic, but with a mechanical precision like the steady tick of an old grandfather clock. Or it's kinda like a machine made from organic components. You know, an automaton. And everything is so neatly tied together with that persistent sound of the winding key. Mistakes are okay. You can always wind up and try again, even if you might need a minute. You got this. Hello, this is me in editing. I just re-listened to this. It sounds like I'm being a little too mean to the lyrics. I actually think the lyrics are quite cute, but my point wasn't that they were bad. It was just that they're a little bit awkward. You know, it's fine. I like the lyrics. I'm not trying to be mean. Okay, bye.
Number 7 is the best VTuber anime opening for 2025.
Okay, so in mathematics, there's this thing called a Klein bottle. It's basically a surface with no inside or outside. It has no edges whatsoever, just this perfectly smooth construct. Calling by Higuchi Kaede, theme music to the anime series I Was Reincarnated as the Seventh Prince, is a little bit like a songwriter's Klein bottle. There is not a single edge to this song, not a single wasted millisecond. It is a J-Rock Mobius strip. Music as a mathematical perfection. Does that make any sense? Oh, actually, wait, I'll use an example that's not math related, right? So you know when you get in a water slide, right? I'm talking proper water slide, proper old-fashioned, not a multi-lane, not a log flume, not a funnel or a coaster, like one of the spiral ones. proper water slide. Jump in, right? And you just have to lean back to make the most of that initial momentum. You're at the highest point, so you've got to get your speed up. You've got to do the coffin pose, but Mum said to make sure you look where you're going. So your eyes down, but coffin pose. And then you hit the first few spirals, and depending on how big they are, you might be able to like lean into the side wall like a little bit, like lean along the edge of that turn just for that bit of centrifugal force. And by now, you're absolutely caning it. You're banging it. You're just, yeah, you might even undercut some of the last few turns just to maintain that speed a little better just before the final stretch. You know that final one just into the little swimming pool bit at the bottom. You know that just. Oh, God. So yeah, it's like that, but a song. Kind of.
Number 6 is The Return of the Queen.
Confession time. I never watched Kazuna Ai back when. I got into VTubers around the tail end of 2022, so she was kind of before my time, and after the presumed retirement, I never got around to actually sit myself down and just look at her back catalogue. It just didn't feel all too urgent. But in February 2025, Kazuna Ai returned in a considerably less grand fashion than she had left. This was very much a Kazuna in step with the newer era. We were doing away with the pageantry and bombast and instead going for a more grounded and down-to-earth take on the character. Someone who sits in what looks to be a very average, unassuming studio with a very average, unassuming outfit. Ai seems to be trying to mature with the medium, which perfectly brings us to her musical output. Squirreled away in a quiet corner of the VTubing music niche is a little micro-genre I've interpreted as VTubing's answer to adult contemporary pop. The more tasteful, restrained, and refined pop tracks I've heard from folks like Azuki and occasionally Suisei. I suppose some ladies start to feel a little out of place singing songs about glitter and friendship into their early 30s and want to move to material that feels a little bit more grown up and sophisticated. I think Kamane makes good on delivering a more mature Ai. The hook isn't the kind of candy shop sweetness to knock your teeth out on first listen. It will take a little bit of patience to grow on you. The song wants to age like a fine wine, so you only have to sip it gently, roll it around the palate a few times. But much as the elegantly polished production works and sounds $1,000,000, Kamane doesn't entirely forget the sentimental angle. This was her first song after the return, and rather than kicking the door down with a loud declaration of "I'm back," this is much more of a "good to see you again, I missed you" type of vibe. And even if I don't have the deepest roots with Ai, I'm not immune to that, man. It's just so warm and kind and heartfelt. Might take a little bit of time to fully click, but trust me, this one's worth the wait.
Number 5 is the real king of peanut VTubing.
What you're about to witness is something rare and dangerous. Do not attempt at home. A person on the internet is going to admit that they might have been wrong about something. If you've seen any recent videos from me, you might have seen some dismissive comments tossed towards this peanut rapper individual over here. I thought he was an annoying meme rapper who had jagged his way into a few good songs by meeting the right people at the right time. Then, his new album came out. Not only was this album better than the last one, it had some brand new faces behind the boards with a full pick and mix of collaborators, both likely and unlikely, each with their own distinct chemistry with the peanut. And I couldn't stop listening to it. There were two choices. I could delude myself that having 10 good to great songs on an 11-song album, each covering a specific flavour of modern pop rap almost effortlessly, was pure luck. Again, after already having dropped a solid album only 14 months previously. I tried, but I ran the numbers. It wasn't possible. That's the kind of luck that gets the DM checking you for loaded dice. I had to admit it. The hater had lost. I had to come before the altar and say, Peanuts-kun, I kneel. Okay, backstory done, we can talk about the music. As I've alluded to, this most recent album was one focused on collabs and crossovers, and Old Mate pulled some serious cards. We have Hololive's Hajime, legit battle rapper Kansan, Ririmu from Mijisanji JP, J-pop rapper Daoko, Ikura from Yoasobi. Yes, by the way, yes, that Yoasobi, the one you're thinking of, like... And of course Kamui, who shows up for the Victory Lap rage track Kirinai. Appears that Peanuts-kun had been eyeing off his own version of Industry Baby or Congratulations, and that's exactly what we got. It's a big, celebratory banger about being rich and famous and never stopping till you reach the top. not for nothing, it is probably the most credible trap rap song released by a VTuber. Not the highest bar, but we'll take it. Sounds hype and expensive, and the final chorus feels like an explosive pinnacle, the cork blasting out of the champagne bottle that Peanuts can finally afford. Not about to pretend that there's anything revolutionary here on paper, but it is worth acknowledging the assist from Kamui on the second verse. Not just because he's great on his own, but because of how it brings up one of Peanuts' underrated strengths as a guy who has a knack for getting the most out of his collaborations. In an industry that moves as fast as this one, the skill to make new friends and connections from many different places and still manage to have some of the same old faces hanging around is worthy of note. In fact, let's not mince words, as far as indies are concerned, being able to maintain consistent industry friendships this expansive is actually kind of aspirational. Being liked by talented people is indeed a talent in and of itself. And the benefit to having such a solid lineup of contacts is that he can just plug the right faces into the right spots and wind up with a rock-solid track list full of the kind of variety and personality that leaves even a lot of major agency releases for dead. Does that make him the VTuber Travis Scott? Yeah, if you like. And it's lit. Sorry.
Number 4 is for the B-boys, B-girls, and non-binary people.
A little bit of competition for my favourite Cali track this year. There wasn't a big screaming obvious Overkill or Black Sheep or Red to be the easy shoe-in. I had to actually think about it. I was ready to lock in Orpheus for its groovy disco jam and surprisingly sweet meditations on parasocial relationships. And then Cali put out a new Jarvis cover and magically we had a winner. Look, I think everyone has their pet genres, their comfort food music that they tend to like more often than they don't, and one of those for me is late 90s to early 2000s underground rap music. I love the dusty drums, the record scratching, the lyrics that are kind of pretentious but kind of not at the same time, CDs with way too many songs because the rapper was worried that people would feel ripped off if their disc wasn't completely full. Yo, and don't forget the backpacks. That's a ticket, man. I could listen to that all day. But even if this is starting out in my good books, I want to be clear that Lovesick stands up as a worthy cover. Reimagining a new Jabez beat for a modern context is a little bit like trying to paint a modernized version of a Monet, but Patton's hardly even sounds like he's sweating. Achingly beautiful instrumental, the harp, the horns, the wispy keys, and only the dustiest of dusty drums. Just how I like it. It's a little cleaner this time for sure, but it still feels kind of floaty and ethereal in the way that new Jabez music always did. And while these obviously aren't Cali's original lyrics, I was surprised how well the track fits into a lot of her more recent catalogue. Well, except for one thing, Cali doesn't write about love very often. Sentimental and introspective as her work often gets, The Reaper very rarely actually talks about love or affection, at least not directly. And in fairness, this is not the most direct exploration. Lovesick is about the power of art, of creativity, of inspiration, of self-expression, of the power for connection through these things. But it still retains this seed of emotional warmth that makes the song feel so tender and caring. To paraphrase the lyrics themselves, a love song can take many forms. They don't always require the words you most expect. With this and End of a Life under their belts, I feel like maybe Maury and Pattons could team up again for a jazz rap EP sometime. I don't know if they can fit it in the schedule. You could call it Your Maury 2 if you wanted to. It's not like I'm going to pre-order that like 1,000 times. Oh wait, you could call it More.
Number 3 is 3.
One of the biggest surprises for VTuber music chart watchers in 2025 was a cover of a Hololive track from last year by two seemingly unknown indie streamers suddenly blowing up to handily outperform the majority of what major corpos drop. The numbers on this track look totally nuts until you actually listen to the thing and go, oh, yeah, that makes total sense. This is insanely good. Every so often the charts get it 100% right. This is a bona fide home run, one of the best party songs in VTuber music, point blank and period. I thought the original 3 was perfectly alright, but it did suffer from some of Giga's more recent issues trying to merge eclectic instrumentals with glassy hyperpop percussion and gurgling bass and just topping it off with his usual blown out mastering. Song works well enough as a trashy turn-up jam for the party girls that smells like cheap wine, Jaeger bombs and push-up bras, but it's not exactly classy. This cover, man, it's just so much slicker. It's got this infectious, groovy, head-bobbing club bounce. Makes you want to get one of these going. maybe even another one. It's so refreshing and crisp. It's aquatic, it's got a bit of bergamot, a little bit of lemon zest on top. And while Senna did actually write the lyrics for both versions of 3, he really did save the best lines for this version. The sunblock flip, the cheeky college dropout reference that made me nostalgic for the old Kanye. Oh, man. Oh, Kanye. Also got to give props to how much of this song runs completely complementary to the original sleazy party girl energy by giving us more rowdy, masculine vibes. I see a lot of male VTubers on their very best behaviour in their music, which I think is generally fine and understandable, but a track like this proves it is entirely possible to be a rowdy, fun party boy without descending into obnoxious, lechy meathead territory. Justin's going for this kind of cocky, flirtatious vibe that's kind of playful, he's feeling himself, he's a bit cheeky. And then Senna, he's just chilling, man, taking it easy, got some good drinks, might hit the dance floor later, but it's not that serious, he's just here for a good time. They complement each other so perfectly. It's so fucking good. The simple fact that one of Kanata's final songs at Hololive was bringing together a full posse to do a recover of this version acknowledges the extent to which the boys objectively crushed it. If this isn't on your playlist at the end of the year, then you are not invited to my birthday party.
Number 2 is the Mito pick, finally.
2025 seems to have been the year when Tsukino Mito was ready to start putting out new solo music. A big part of that was likely her running down the clock with her record contract with Sakura Music, which seems to have been way more restrictive than Mito wanted. If you're wondering why she was only able to release a music video for Mito Raji Galactica 3 years after the album dropped, feel free to scream at Sony. But that is ancient history now. Mito is fully in the driver's seat these days, free to release her wildest creative ambitions. And release she did for 2025's mini album 310p Hertz, a 7-song postmodern fever dream that blasted my brain into the fucking stratosphere. It makes Moonrabbit sound like easy listening. This thing has more madcap creative ideas in a 30-minute runtime than some bands have in their entire careers. The critics loved it.
I'm so scared!
This is an experimental pop odyssey winding through some of the strangest music you will ever hear from a major agency VTuber. Oh, and for anyone left wanting for music videos, we got a full 7, each from a different visual artist with radically different styles. Or, should I say, that was for the 6 music videos Mito paid for herself. She spent Niji-sanji's advance on making a choose-your-own-adventure game for the song Araku Universe, a song about taking a stroll outside, and splintering it through the interactivity into a myriad of pathways, shortcuts, and brand new destinations, each with their own musical passage offshooting from the original track. I guess pun intended. Something as simple as going for a walk can contain a whole universe of unexpected possibilities, a microcosm of the album's celebration of creativity and experimenting, an almost childlike reverence for the limitless power of imagination. For me, as a die-hard fan, this fully lived up to the expectations set by her towering previous record, which is also fantastic. If I sounded too dismissive earlier, I love both of these albums very dearly. But rules say I have to highlight one song from the mini-album as the best, and I was seriously chewing the pencil for this one. It was hard. Eventually, I landed on The Closer, probably the most unassuming song on the record. It's a loungy bossa nova cut courtesy of Tomoko Sasaki, who's worked on a bunch of great video game soundtracks. She also did some songs for Marine and Suisei, plus that amazing one-room survival record. Really good. Instrumental here is clean enough to check your teeth in. Glossy, warm, organic, pillowy. It's just a musical spa for your brain, so good to relax in. And while that alone counts for a lot, the lyrics here really clinched it for me. Koi Boshi Periko is a story song, one that references back to a letter that Mito received from a viewer. I don't want to spoil the story explicitly, but the way this track manages to be a curious, whimsical, and weirdly hilarious story on its own while still weaving into Mito's previous explorations of internet identity and parasocial relationships left me with a jaw on the floor. Such a sweet and poignant way to finish up an album. I have a lot to say about it, and I hope at some point in the near future I can give you a much clearer picture of why I love this so much. In the meanwhile, get your radio gear out and tune in to 310p Hertz. Ain't much like it this side of the Milky Way.
Number 1.
I don't think I've ever expressly said on this channel why I'm interested in VTuber music. I am, first and foremost, a music nerd of the Todd in the Shadows, Anthony Fantano Pitchfork Reviewer variety, and have been since late high school. deeply insufferable. I apologize. I got into VTubers independently of that and kind of figured out my own approach to appreciating and enjoying the music along with it. And to be clear, I do enjoy listening to this kind of music. I do it for fun in my spare time, gladly. I've learned a lot about making, understanding, and critiquing music from listening to anime nerds sing about friendship and feelings, and I wouldn't swap that for anything. But it means that a lot of the time I'm listening to music I can enjoy and appreciate, but not always relate to directly, especially when the subject matter is dealing with internet notoriety or like entertainment industry woes. I haven't lived that. There's a degree of separation there. And that's totally fine, but when something comes along that I do legitimately find relatable and speaks to things in my personal life right now, then yeah, that's going to pack one hell of a punch. Let's be out with it. Sound Asleep by Lisa Chikafuji absolutely tore my guts out in a way that no other song did this year. I don't just like this song, I feel like I really get it, viscerally. Even if it wasn't a VTuber song, I still would have been listening to this thing all throughout the year. I enjoy it so intuitively, it's almost a little difficult to write about, but I'll try. Let's start with the sound, which pulls from shoegaze, post-hardcore, indie rock and noise pop. As much Deftones as it is Jesus and Mary Chain and Paramore. The structure is a pop song, the sound is a fat guitar steak. It is thick and heavy and slams with raw primal catharsis, but it's also a little sweet and dreamy, which translates perfectly to the lyrics. I might as well quote Lisa directly.
The crux of the song is you're always going to have an expectation. Everyone is always going to require you to be what they need you to be, or you're replaceable. I've always struggled with trying to be perfect, molding myself to be what others needed to feel like I'm needed.
It's about self-image, it's about dealing with expectations from yourself and from others, and more than that, it's about dealing with the sobering reality of your own limitations. The process of learning to deal with yourself as you are and not the fantasy you or others have for what you should be. Looking in the mirror and fully accepting that this is what you have to work with. Nothing more, nothing less, just this. And in the long run, somehow you are going to have to make this happy. At times, as Lisa details, that realization can feel almost a little debilitating. To run up against the wall of your own limits and feel increasingly boxed in and stuck in your own head. All the things that are supposed to make it all worth the while are just sitting over the horizon, always out of reach. But it can't just be that. Sound Asleep is also about the flickering light at the end of the tunnel, the perseverance. The trust that it is all building to something, even if you can't see the full picture yet. It's about learning to have faith in that process, maybe even faith in yourself. Not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. Much as consciousness can be painful sometimes, it doesn't mean that you have to leave the dream. Does this make sense? Oh, look, perhaps I'm speaking gibberish to most people. How's this? The song is It's So Over, but by the end, it's flipped around to We Are So Back. There we go, flawless explanation. Should have led with that one. If there's anything that feels melodious between my two favourite songs for this year, it's that core theme of VTubing still having so much uncharted creative territory. Be it Mito's endless pursuit of the infinite possibilities of creativity, or Lisa leading by example and pulling from influences entirely fresh to the medium, there is still so much left out there to find. And if I hope for anything in 2026, it's that we can keep exploring what's out there. See if we can make some of those dreams a reality. Oh, well, I guess nothing comes after one, so we are done. Thank you for watching the video. Oh, and since this is my den of opinions, might as well do my favourite video games while we're here. Can I get a graphic? That would be that button. That works. We got the other one. Nice, that'll do us. Got some other songs floating around on the screen. Make sure you put your favourite songs in the comments, by the way. We'll read it. Scout's honour. And apologies to my space rock fans. Didn't have much to give you this year. I will have to look harder next year. Pleasure Cruise will be returning when Numi says the secret code word. Don't worry, she knows the one. Hopefully we'll have something that's worth the wait. Take care. Try not to die. Captain out.
Alert, Captain. There is a game I need to show you. It's essential for your research.
Oh, yeah, okay. What's the game called?
Virtual Maid Streamer Rami.
Right, okay. how far out are we from Earth right now?
Still approximately 721 light years away.
Yeah, right, I see. Yeah, I'll keep an open mind about the game. Thanks, Al.
Excellent. You won't want to miss her casual outfit. It's super cute.